Good evening. What does it mean to be a Christian now? No longer a Jew. The Jewish religion led us to be a Christian, but now we are Christians. Starting with Luke 22:20. In the same way, after the supper, he took the cup, saying, "This is the cup of the new covenant in my blood, which is poured out for you." New covenant, more than once in the gospel. Matthew 22:37. We follow two laws. If we're a Christian, we follow two laws. That's it. No other law. No other law. Two laws. 22:37, Matthew. Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the laws and the prophets hang on these two commandments." Number 3, Romans 13:10. 13:8. Let no debt remain outstanding except the continuing debt to love one another. For he who loves his fellow man has fulfilled the law, in capital letters, the law, the Torah, whatever, the law. The commandments: do not commit adultery, do not murder, do not steal, do not covet, and whatever other commandment there may be, are all summed up in one rule: love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no harm to its neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfillment of any law. Galatians 5:14 says it straight out again. One simple sentence. The entire law is summed up in a single command: love your neighbor as yourself. Galatians 3:10. All who rely on observing the law are under a curse. For it is written, "Curse everyone who does not continue to do everything written in the book of the law." We're not concerned with the law anymore. We're not concerned with the Old Testament. We are Christians. It is the new law, the law of Jesus. Two of them: love God and love neighbor as yourself. Galatians 3:24. The law was put in charge of us to lead us to Christ, so that we might be justified by faith in Jesus. We are no longer under supervision of the law. Now, social law is different. We're talking about spiritual guidance here. I mean, we're always under social law. Romans 7:7. What shall we say then? Is the law sin? No, it's not. The law is not sin. I would not have known what sin was except from the law that we grew up in the Old Testament. They made whatever we did sin by laws. We're not that way now. Romans 8:1. Therefore, there is now no condemnation for those who are in Jesus Christ. Because through Jesus, the law of the Spirit set me free to die free from the law of sin. As for sex, Corinthians 6:12, sexual immorality. Now, Paul had a real big thing with sex. He struggled with sex. Paul preached a lot to the Greeks all along the Black Sea, that area, the whole thing there. And he partied with them. He partied out. They loved Bacchus of wine, the god of wine, and they partied out. And Paul struggled with sex. Historical, biblical fact. But he gets here in Corinthians 6:12, everything is permissible for me, but not everything is beneficial. He will not be mastered by anything, food for the stomach, etc. And he goes on to say the body's not meant for sexual immorality and all that. But the whole thing is, what is sexual immorality? He just said everything is permissible for us as a Christian. We have to make decisions. We decide. We have free will. We decide. It's free for us to do, but we go back to the other law, the spirit of love. What I want done to me. You know, love your brother as yourself. Same thing when he gets here to Corinthians 10:23, talking about eating. To when we go from the Jewish diet to the Christian diet, to where when we bless our food, we clean our food and bless our food, it is permissible. Everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. Nobody should seek his own good, but for the good of others. And do not eat food that is blessed in another God's name, another person's name. We want food that is blessed in the name of Jesus Christ, because he is our protector and leader. This is something here now. We can't, the Bible is corrupt. You cannot believe everything in it. Yes, you can cherry pick. Yes, you can choose. You can use the smell test. Does it smell right? Does it taste right? Yes, you can. Proven fact, the Bible is corrupted by man's hand. Corinthians 14:33. For God is not a God of disorder, but of peace. As in all the congregations of the saints, women should remain silent in the churches. They are not allowed to speak, but must be in submission to the law. Now see, Paul is working in his Jewish faith into trying to, in a letter here, and going back towards the original Jewish law, rather than the spirit of love of Jesus Christ and the inclusion of women, the empowerment of women. But yet here in Corinthians 14:33 and 34, he says women are second class, that women don't have a voice. No. Okay, and finally, Luke 7:33 and Matthew 11:18. Jesus is addressing the Pharisees who was criticizing him for hanging out with Matthew the tax collector and other people of ill repute. And he would drink and have dinner with them and break bread and drink wine. And the Pharisees was criticizing him. And he addresses them. He says, for John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say he has a demon. The Son of Man has come eating and drinking, and they say, here is a glutton, a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. I mean, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. God says he's going to do what he wants to. Jesus says he's going to do what he wants to. I'm going to end up with what I started, basically. Matthew 22:37. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul, with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like that. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and prophets hang on these two commandments. Love. And that's what it's all about, friends. Love.